Welcome back to Texas 2A video. We're going to talk about the AKP today. I've had this for a little while, been wanting to cover it, but due to shooting location discrepancies and whatnot, I'm just now getting around to it, but I know you guys want to know. So what does Texas 2A video think about this fella? You know, I've got, coverage of the GF3, the AKV, and the AKE. Well, this is kind of rounding out the collection here. This did pop up, railed version. Had to have it. Jumped on that, managed to get it. It did have the SPA3, which is perfect because I didn't want that. Although it works, a lot of people absolutely freaking love that. I do love the CNC Warrior. It is alloy. It's pretty light. It folds up very nicely, as you can see. Folds up, locks up. So, little bonus review of that. Same thing I've got on the AKV, and I've got the GF3 that I had. It also had a CNC Warrior folding stock. So, this right here is also exchanged with a very obnoxious brake, just because the crank style that was on there, whatever you want to call it. I don't like the way it looks, I wanted something different. So this is very obnoxious, but so far it works very well. I have no complaints. My sight post was candid just a little bit. I did, it's within spec per se on an AK, so you are able to move that over and get it in where it needs to be, although mine seems to be a rare occasion where most guys aren't having that problem. So under the hood of this thing, same old typical AK everything. Does have a hinge, does have a fixed rear stock, and then your front sight post block combo does work very well for this. So yeah, I put some rounds through it and haven't actually been able to cover it yet, but here we are. It is nice, hot, humid. Texas weather's back in session. Bonus, I know guys talking shit, don't like it, but US Palm magazines are some of the ones I'm trying with this. You see they lock in. Probably saw me cover this already. They're doing pretty good. Haven't actually function test yet. So let's see what it works. That's was that 30 yards or something like that. So we'll stretch out to 100. I did actually get to shoot these when I was at Palmetto State Armory media days, and that's when I was like, yeah, I need one. So I got to shoot the Lead Star Arms version and the standard, and I was hitting steel out there at 200 yards open irons, so it's not a problem here. That's 100. I do have a target at 150 yards. We'll see if I can ding that. Got a ding on it finally. I can say that I'm a little shaky because of the heat, and I've been setting up all these targets that I just built, and yeah, it's a little rough today. So the gun is better than I am right now. So yeah, I was considering not even shooting today, but I need to get content for you guys, and this is one of several things I've been wanting to cover. So here we are. But she does work very well. No lock hold open. She is empty. So that's one of those US Palm magazines. So we'll back it up with another one, see what it does. The grip that was 30 rounds in. The handguard is getting warm. Typical AK fashion. So I've talked to Paul Popov about stuff like that. He's one of the guys in the AK groups on Facebook. Very knowledgeable freaking guy. I've always been in denial about the handguards on some stuff, but that's been ARs. This thing here, I will say that, yeah, some type of AFG would be a good thing on this, because it's already that few rounds in and it's already getting a little warm. But if it was Magpul, it wouldn't be a problem. The Magpul, it might melt a little bit on the inside, but it doesn't do this. This thing's going to end up, I'm not going to be wanting to hold this too much longer. Top two, bottom one, I've got 3 targets, and then one below it. So that was all 3 on that. I'll go back to 100 again, see if I can do that. Get a little more comfortable. I'm drifting a little bit out there because, like I said, the heat, like I'm getting sweat in my eyes. It's just rough today. What can I say? So I'm at the point where, all right, empty. She's empty, good to go. I am at the point right now that I am totally getting sweat in my eyes. And anyway, I'm not wanting to hold this now. I'm having to hold on the magazine. So at 60 rounds in, lets you know that as good as this looks, and I love it, yes, it is not your friend when it comes to hanging on to it with 60 rounds through there. That's warm. So I'm going to have to hang on to the magazine now. That was 2 US Palm. They work. A lot of people were pissed off because, who was it? Century evidently bought them out. Supposedly it's the same guys that were building the US Palms originally. A lot of guys are pissed off at them. They're like, hey, screw those guys. They try to get over on X-Tech and bully them out of the market. It's probably true. I've got too many guys saying it, but I don't have anything to verify and back that up. If you want some cheap mags that work so far, at least for the range, they work. If you can't stand Century, don't buy them. Bakelite is, you can probably guess, is this going to work? Maybe. I'm hearing them things land on there and it's working, but whew, she's rough. I mean, you see she's got a little smoke steaming off of her. Yeah, it's evaporating pretty quick. All right, empty. So there's that guy, Bakelite. We knew that was gonna work. These are just cheap ass piece of shit Bulgarians. We're gonna dump 40 rounds of this. This is surplus, so I don't really care about this. Is brass. We know this is going to feed and it's going to work. But these do not have metal locking lugs. So I've had guys tell me they've slapped them in, bam, broke a lug off. So be aware. You know, it's something guys like to know. Extra tidbit. You see, she's smoking. Nice and warm. And how hot is it? Yeah. Nice. Nice and warm. You wouldn't want to touch that even with gloves because it's hot enough right now where they can go through the gloves and bust your ass. So yeah, initial impressions on that. I do love it. I like it a lot. I'm actually going to probably keep this in my truck as a truck gun because it's reliable as hell and the job that I need from here to this distance would do it. You know, take care of itself. Only thing I've done to this though is literally that and this guy up here. I will say you got guys complaining like, oh, I've got this little spot right here that's developing on my top cover. Is that normal? Well, it's a aluminum cover and you've got steel smashing into it. I got a lot of AK guys that are laughing that I got you AR guys that are like, oh man, what is this? You know, I want this to be pretty. It's an AK. We don't care. Like, they don't stay cosmetically beautiful through use, especially when you have an alloy aluminum cover getting smacked into it by steel. So that is something to be aware of. If you buy one of these, you are going to get a little bit of deformation here. It's not a big deal. It is 100% normal. Guys get laughed at online all the time in the PSA AK group because it's funny. This rail does work very well for the AKV that I've used with my red dot on. I have not put one on here because I don't have a desire to. I like it as it is. But everybody else I've talked to that did work well. There is, some guys had an issue with this little fella here coming loose and things were able to shift. You can see mine's got a little bit of red in there, so it's clearly Loctite. They'll fix it for you if it's a problem, if you can't do it yourself. But so far mine has been great. I mean, she's, you know, doing her job for me. And I have no complaints about it. Let's see, that's 60, 120, 30, 130 rounds. And I've put even more than that through it off film playing around. But see, so far you can see, set that down for y'all, and if the camera focuses, you can see barely got that little bit of touch of deformation from slamming into the hammer. That's going to be normal. I can see it's barely started. That's going to mushroom out a little bit and stop, just like typical. You can watch AKOU run through it. Haven't cleaned this thing yet. I've run it. I'm trying to remember what I put through this thing. I was at some people's house playing around, just function testing, and then now I've put this rounds through it. And I don't have a complaint with anything on this thing so far. It's definitely hot as hell right now, so it's hard to want to finagle it too much. But the AKP so far, if you want something that is, you know, smaller than your typical full size, it's a valid option. But just remember, this thing here, it's warm. Like right now with gloves, I would still struggle to hold this thing. So keep that in mind. It's beautiful, but it's not going to do any favors. Like she's you know, 60 rounds in, I can't hardly touch it. But you know, hopefully you guys like what you see. I will come back with some accuracy testing on this, but for now I wanted to give initial impressions, show you what I did to it. You know, you guys know I don't leave stuff alone very often, for very long at all. But yeah, I'm very pleased with this. I got my M92, sold it, and replaced it with this, and I'm glad I did, because this is better. It's got a standard rear cam setup, so this brace dropped right in. You go to CNC Warrior, you go get cast left side, was it stamped left side, get you this left side folding option. So if you want to get their stock, you want to go right side, because you're probably going to have a GF3 that's got a side rail on it. Some guys were actually asking for AKP with the side rail. I cannot confirm or deny if they're going to do that, because some of y'all still want to have something like this and still have a side mount rail on it. A lot of y'all believe it's still more accurate than this. Probably is. But a red dot on something like this, I don't believe you're going to have any deviation of where you're talking about. So, but yeah, otherwise, that's it, man. Hope you guys like what you see. My little obnoxious, cheap $40 break I got from the gun show. And then, yeah, like I said, it performs. So, all right, hope you like what you checked out. And see you guys next time for some accuracy testing on this, hopefully.